So this session will take up the mitochondria. So mitochondria is being called as the powerhouse of the cell. Why do we call it as the powerhouse of the cell? Because it produces ATP or it produces the energy. That is why we call it as the powerhouse of the cell. So this organelle was first observed by a scientist named as Kolliker. The organelle was first observed by a scientist named as Kolliker, and the term mitochondria was coined by a scientist named as Benda. So usually when it comes to the unicellular eukaryotes, there's only one mitochondria present in the cell. There's only one mitochondria present in one single cell. But when it comes to multicellular eukaryotes, so the number of the mitochondria per cell depends on the activity of the cell. Okay, unicellular eukaryotes there's only one single mitochondria per one cell. Okay, when it comes to multicellular eukaryotes, the number of mitochondria will depend on the activity of the cell. Whichever cell has more activity will be having more number of mitochondria. It means that the cell which is metabolically more active will be having more mitochondria in the cell. For example, we have germinating seeds. Germinating seeds requires more amount of ATP for the germination process. So there we see more number of mitochondria. Likewise, we have the flight muscles of the birds. Flight muscles, because continuously they will be in the movement, there is a need of more amount of energy. And because of that, there are more mitochondria. And we also have the basal cells of the flagella. Flagella will be continuously splashing up. So for this splashing or beating of the flagella, the base will be providing the energy, and hence the basal cells of the flagella will be having more number of the mitochondria. Okay, so likewise, the cells which are metabolically more active, will be having more number of mitochondria in case of the multicellular eukaryote. So it is purely dependent on the activity of the cell. But however, when compared to plants and animals, animals have more mitochondria as compared to the plants. Why animals have more mitochondria, or why animals should have more mitochondria as compared to the plants? Because animals have movement, right? Animals have movement and plants do not have the movement. Movement will consume a lot of energy. And that is one extra process which is present in the animals as compared to the plants. And to suffice that amount of energy, definitely the animals should have more amount of mitochondria as compared to the plants. Okay. Now, all the mitochondria collectively in a cell, all mitochondria collectively in a cell is called as chondriome. Chondriome is a term which is given to all the mitochondria which is present in the cell. So if there is one cell, so in a cell, let us imagine there are some 25 mitochondria. So all 25 mitochondria together in a cell is called as the chondriome. Okay, and then the mitochondria in the muscle cells. Mitochondria in the muscle cells are called as sarcosomes. Mitochondria in the muscle cells are called as the sarcosomes. So once again, all the animals have more mitochondria, and all the mitochondria completely in the cell. If there are millions of mitochondria in a cell, all millions of mitochondria together are called as chondrium. And if it comes to the muscle cells, only in the muscle cells, the mitochondria are called as the sarcosomes. In the plant cells, the Golgi complex was called as dictyosomes. In the plants, the Golgi complex was called as dictyosomes. Similarly, here the mitochondria in the muscle cells are called as the sarcosomes. Okay. Then coming to the structure of the mitochondria. Structure of the mitochondria. Mitochondria is a double membrane structure. Mitochondria is a double membrane structure. So there are two membranes present. One is an outer membrane. One is an outer membrane. And this outer membrane is usually made up of 50% of lipids, and remaining cholesterol. 50% of lipids and remaining is the cholesterol in case of the outer membrane. And outer membranes will be having some small pores like this. Outer membrane will be having some small pores which we call as porins. So these porins will make the outer membrane freely permeable membrane. So because of the presence of the porins, we call the outer membrane as a freely permeable membrane, and these porins will permit the movement of the molecules into the mitochondria, which are up to 5000 Daltons. ಪೋರಿನ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದಾವಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಪೋರಿನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರಬಹುದು. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸೈಜ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಇದು ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಪೋರಿನ್ಸ್ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅಪ್ ಟು 5000 Daltons. ಅಪ್ ಟು 5000 Daltons ಸೈಜ್ ತನಕನೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಪೋರಿನ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇನ್ನರ್ membrane. Inner membrane does not have cholesterol. Okay, the inner membrane of the mitochondria will lack the cholesterol, and it is highly impermeable. This is freely permeable. Outer membrane is freely permeable, but the inner membrane is highly impermeable. And because of the impermeability of the inner membrane, we are capable of producing the ATP. So let me explain later how exactly that is responsible for the ATP production. Okay, so the inner membrane is folded to form okay. So inner membrane is folded into inner protrusions, which is called as cristae. And this cristae is nothing but the inner membrane, and the major component of this inner membrane is proteins and cardiolipids. Proteins and the cardiolipids are the major components of the inner membrane. Okay, and inner membrane is highly impermeable to any molecules, but this has the permeability to the oxygen, carbon dioxide. Okay, it has permeability to the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. These two membranes will divide the mitochondria into two compartments. One is an outer compartment, another one is an inner compartment. Outer compartment is called as intermembrane space. The outer compartment is called as intermembrane space and the inner compartment is matrix. The inner compartment is matrix. So, matrix is a major part of the mitochondria because that is the place which carries the major enzymes of the mitochondria. The major enzymes of the mitochondria andre yavdu? Krebs cycle enzymes, electron transport chain complexes, everything is there in the inner membrane and the matrix of the mitochondria. Apart from these components, the matrix will also have its own ribosomes, and the DNA. Its own ribosomes and DNA. Ribosomes. What type of ribosome is present in the mitochondria? What type of ribosome is present in the mitochondria? It is 70S type of ribosomes. Remember, eukaryotic cytoplasm alirodu 80S. Eukaryotic cytoplasm alirodu 80S. But mitochondria ಮತ್ತು chloroplast, eukaryotic mitochondria ಮತ್ತು chloroplast alirodu 70S type of ribosomes. Apart from this, 70S type of ribosomes are also seen in apart from the mitochondria and chloroplast, where else do we see the 70S mitochondria? 70S ribosomes are also seen in prokaryotes. Prokaryotes will have 70S type of ribosome. Eukaryotes will have 80S type of ribosome. But in the eukaryotic mitochondria and chloroplast, there is also 70S type of the ribosomes. Okay, and this is the DNA. Because of the presence of the DNA and the ribosomes, which carry out the protein synthesis, isn't it? It carries out the protein synthesis in the mitochondria and the chloroplast. DNA ಮತ್ತು ribosomes ಯಾಕಿದೆ ಮೈಟೊಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ? Because ಮೈಟೊಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ATP generation ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, right? Why the DNA and ribosomes are present in the mitochondria is because the mitochondria will actually generate the ATP. And for the generation of the ATP, there are many enzymes which are required, and these enzymes are required continuously. So, all these enzymes cannot be produced by the cytoplasm ribosomes and the DNA and send it continuously to the mitochondria. Cytoplasm ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಸಿಂಥಸಿಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೈಟೋಪ್ಲಾಸಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಸಿಂಥಸಿಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ? ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಎಂಜೈಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೈಟೊಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಯಾಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಎಂಜೈಮ್ ಸೈಟೋಪ್ಲಾಸಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಮೈಟೊಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಯಾಗೆ ಬರೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು, 24/7 ATP ಜನರೇಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ATP ಜನರೇಷನ್ ಒಂದ್ ವೇಳೆ ನಮ್ಮ ರೈಬೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ DNA ಸೈಟೋಪ್ಲಾಸಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತು ಎಂಜೈಮ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಇರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕಿ ಬರೀ ಮೈಟೊಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಕ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲೇ ನಮ್ಮ ರೈಬೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮುಗ್ದೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ whichever enzymes are continuously required. For example, we have succinate dehydrogenase, which is the marker enzyme of the mitochondria. Okay, succinate dehydrogenase, which is the major enzyme of the mitochondria. So that is produced inside the mitochondria. So continuous agi bekagiro ಆ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದಾವಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಎಂಜೈಮ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದಾವಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಎಂಜೈಮ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮೈಟೊಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಯಾ ತಾನೇ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ತಾನೇ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು, so out of all the enzymes required, all the proteins required, 1% of the enzymes and proteins are produced by the mitochondria itself. Only 1%. Remaining 99% are the normal enzymes and the proteins which our cytoplasm ribosomes will be providing to the mitochondria. But that 1% which are continuously required, they are produced by the mitochondria on its own. And because the mitochondria is capable of producing 1% of its enzymes and proteins on its own, we call it as the semi-autonomous organelle. We call it as semi-autonomous organelle. Why mitochondria is called as semi-autonomous antandre? Because it is capable of producing its own enzymes and proteins inside the mitochondria. 1% of the enzymes and proteins are produced in the mitochondria, which are continuously required in the mitochondria. Hence, we call the organelle as semi-autonomous organelle. Clear? Huh? Now, apart from these components, on the inner membrane, we see the presence of certain important particles called as Racker's particles. We see the presence of Racker's particles. So these Racker's particles are present on the inner membrane of the mitochondria. So these particles are called as, write them here, these particles are called as F0, F1 particles. These particles are called as F0, F1 particles. They are called as F0, F1 particles, Racker's particles, oxysomes, Fernandez particles. Okay, all these are the names given to the F0, F1 particle. However, based on the function, the F0, F1 particles are also given one more name, that is ATP synthetase. This is also called as ATP synthetase enzyme. Okay, so we will study this after we wipe out this. So we'll take up the F0, F1 particle in detail again. Okay, so this is about the structure of the mitochondria. Clear with this? Note it down. So F0, F1 particles are also called as oxysomes, Racker's particles, ATP synthetase, or the Fernandez particles. Okay. See how exactly the F1 particle is present. So this is the base of the F0, F1 particle, and then we have a stalk and a globular head. The base is F0 and this globular head is F1. Okay, the base is F0 and the globular head is F1, and this is the stalk. This is the stalk. Now, F1 has various subunits. F1 unit of this ATP synthetase has various subunits, and the subunits are alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon. These are the 5 subunits. Among them, alpha and beta will make up the globular head. Alpha and beta will make up the globular head. So, alpha and beta are present here. Along with the alpha beta, even the delta is present in the globular head only. Even this is the globular head. And then gamma is actually the stalk. Gamma is present in the stalk. Now coming to the epsilon, epsilon will help in connecting stalk to F1. The epsilon will help in the connection of the stalk to this F0 or the base. Now, where exactly the base is present and where the globular head is present. So, if this is the outer membrane of the mitochondria. Okay, and we have the inner membrane of the mitochondria. So let us imagine one crystal like this. Okay, the base is always immersed in the membrane. The base is immersed in the inner membrane. Stalk and the head will protrude out. The stalk and head will protrude out, whereas the base or the F naught is inside the membrane. So half of the ATP synthetase is embedded inside the membrane, inner membrane of the mitochondria. Half is been protruded into the matrix. Okay, half ellide, half matrix ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದೆ, half ellide, half ನಮಗೆ ಇನ್ನರ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಎಂಬೆಡೆಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ F0 F0 F1 ಅಲ್ಲಿ F0 ಇನ್ನರ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಎಂಬೆಡೆಡ್ ಇದೆ. F1 ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ? F1 ಇಸ್ ಅ ಗ್ಲೋಬ್ಯುಲಾರ್ ಹೆಡ್. ಆ F1 ನಮಗೆ ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ಸೊ F1 ಈ F1 ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನ್ ಸಬ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಆಲ್ಫಾ ಬೀಟಾ ಗಾಮಾ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ ಎಪ್ಸಿಲಾನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ಫಾ ಬೀಟಾ ಮತ್ತು ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ ವಿಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ದ ಗ್ಲೋಬ್ಯುಲಾರ್ ಹೆಡ್. Okay, gamma will form the stalk. Epsilon will help in the connecting this portion to this base portion. Clear? Clear with this? And now this is called as the ATP synthetase because this is the one which actually produces the ATP during the electron transport chain. Electron transport chain ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಇನ್ನರ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸಿಂಥಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ATP ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸಿ, because it is impermeable, all the protons, all the H plus ions which have come on the outer side. So during the pumping of the electrons, electron transport system, if you remember the electron transport system, there is pumping of the protons when there is a movement of the electrons. During the movement of the electrons, energy is released. Using that energy, there is pumping up of the protons. ಆ protons ಹಿಂಗೆ ಪಂಪ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ protons ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಫ್ರೀ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬರ್ತವೆ. But again they cannot go inside to the matrix because it is impermeable. If it was permeable, ಒಂದ್ ವೇಳೆ ಇದು permeable ಆಗಿತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ protons ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. But it is impermeable. These protons cannot come inside. The only way for the protons to come inside is through the ATP synthetase. You got it? Protons ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಫ್ರೀ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಹೊರಟೋಗ್ತವೆ. ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರಕ್ ಇನ್ನು ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ದಾರಿ, ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರಲೇಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್ ಗ್ರೇಡಿಯಂಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಗ್ರೇಡಿಯಂಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರಲೇಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಂಪರ್ಮಿಯೇಬಲ್, ದ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಪರ್ಮಿಯೇಬಲ್. ಸೊ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರಕ್ ಇರೋ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ದಾರಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಕಮ್ ಥ್ರೂ ದಿಸ್ ATP synthetase. So when the protons are coming through this ATP synthetase, protons ಇಂದ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಎನರ್ಜಿನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ATP ನ ಇದು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Okay, tomorrow your juniors have the class of electron transport system. ನಾಳೆಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೂನಿಯರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸೆಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಗೆ electron transport system ತಗೊಳ್ತೀನಿ. So in case you guys are free, okay, if in case you guys are free, sit for that class. Electron transport system and oxidative phosphorylation. Sorry, itta odidira? You have studied? Okay, if you have studied then it is fine. Otherwise, if you want the detailed version of the electron transport chain and the oxidative phosphorylation, you can come and sit the classes. Okay? So marker enzymes of the mitochondria. As I said, marker enzyme is majorly used for the identification or recognition of the organelle, right? The major enzyme in the mitochondria for the recognition is the succinate dehydrogenase. The main or the primary marker enzyme is succinate dehydrogenase. Okay. So this succinate dehydrogenase, what it does? What exactly the succinate dehydrogenase does? So this will usually convert the succinate into fumarate. Succinate to fumarate. So succinate dehydrogenase is the the primary marker enzyme in the mitochondria. Apart from the succinate dehydrogenase, so these enzymes will also act as the secondary marker enzymes. Primary marker enzyme is succinate dehydrogenase. Secondary marker enzymes are these enzymes which are specifically present on a particular part of the mitochondria. Now, it is not that all these enzymes are present on all the parts of the mitochondria, specifically on the outer membrane of the mitochondria. Okay, specifically on the outer membrane of the mitochondria, we see the monoxide oxidase. This is only present on the outer membrane. If the presence of this particular enzyme is confirmed, it means that this is the outer membrane of the mitochondria which we are seeing. Monoamine oxidase is present on the outer membrane of the mitochondria. Similarly, we have NADH cytochrome C reductase and the fatty acid CoA ligase. So fatty acid enzymes nu kuda mitochondria dalle irutte because the fatty acid metabolism is also happening in the mitochondria along with the Krebs cycle electron transport system. The fatty acid metabolism is also taking place in the mitochondria only. Then coming to the inner membrane, we have ATP synthase, succinate dehydrogenase, cytochrome oxidase, NADH dehydrogenase complex. All these are related to the electron transport system. All these are related to the electron transport system. All the electron transport system complexes, right? Complex 5, complex 2, complex 4 and complex 1. Right? And then coming to the matrix. Matrix only we have pyruvate dehydrogenase and the enzymes of TCA. What is TCA? What is TCA? TCA is tricarboxylic acid cycle. Tricarboxylic acid cycle andre yavadu? It is Krebs cycle only. Then enzymes for fatty acid oxidation. So these are all present in the matrix because these are happening in the matrix. Krebs cycle is happening in the matrix. Fatty acid metabolism, that is fatty acid oxidation is happening in the matrix of the mitochondria. Hence, these enzymes are present in the matrix of the mitochondria. Coming to the intermembrane space of the mitochondria. So, nucleoside monophosphokinase and the nucleoside diphosphokinase and the adenylate kinases are present on the intermembrane space of the mitochondria. Okay. So, the major enzyme is or the primary marker enzyme is the succinate dehydrogenase. Apart from this, these are all the secondary marker enzymes. Okay? Huh?